Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Access Forms and Reports Pro. Forms are used to bring data into a database. Reports are used to present data that is already in a database. And forms and reports constitute the user interface. The user will never see your base tables, these tables over here, and the user will actually never see any queries that you write, or usually will not see the queries that you write. Instead, they will see a report built off of the query, a report built off of the base table, or a form built off of the base table. So let's go ahead and see how that all works. We're going to start by, just to familiarize ourselves, creating a query. So we'll go create query design, and this time we're going to do it without having a little prompt report. We're just going to do it from scratch. So create query design. We'll flip to SQL view, and this query will show the top 10 fans by income. So we'll say select top 10, and this is going to be from the fans table here. Just to remind yourself, okay, who's there. So we'll say select top 10, first, last, email, and then we'll bring in the income. So those will be the fields. Top 10, first, last, email, income from fans. And as you know, the top 10 is only meaningful if you actually order it. So order by income. And we'll put that in descending order so that the top 10 is meaningful in terms of greatest to least. And we'll run that, and there's our top 10 fans by income. So we'll save that. Top 10 fans by income. And there it is over here. Now let's do a similar thing for movies. And we'll do movies top 10 by their Rotten Tomatoes score. So create, query design, SQL view, select top 10. And we need the fields from movies, so let's take a quick look. So we'll put title and Rotten Tomatoes score. Title, Rotten Tomatoes from movies. And same thing here, order by Rotten Tomatoes, descending order. Great. I'll save that. Top 10 movies by Rotten Tomatoes. All right, so far that's all familiar territory. Now, neither of these is particularly pretty in its output, right? That doesn't look so great, but we can make it pretty, and that's what this unit's all about. So let's go ahead for this one here, and we're going to build a report off of this using the report wizard. So we'll go ahead and highlight this guy, then we'll go to create, and this time we'll click on this report wizard here. And this shows us the fields that are in our query. And we want all of them, so we can either click them over one at a time, like that. I'll put them back, or I can just click this and bring them all over in one fell swoop. This gives me a feel for what it's going to look like across the page, how they're going to be presented, first, last, email, and income. And I could actually change that order here. This is asking me if I want to sort in any particular order. we'll take it sorted the way that it already is sorted. And then I get a choice here of what the layout should look like. And the one we want is tabular, and the orientation will be portrait. Click Next. And notice that the report will actually end up with the same name as the query. And we'll go ahead and finish. And there's our report. So it does look prettier in some respects, but in other respects, not so much, in the sense that those numbers there, the field width wasn't wide enough, so it's showing the numbers with hashtags. But the great thing about reports is that we can edit them and make them look really nice. And so that's what we're going to do next. So I'm going to go ahead and close Print Preview here. And then this brings me into a view over here for the report, which is kind of scary. So we want to switch over here. That was Design View. We want to switch over here for the report to what's called Layout View, which is a little bit less scary and easy to work with. All right, and so it's highlighted the first column. And that column's a little too big for the data, so we're just going to drag it all over. And we can do the same thing for the next one. So we'll highlight. Now, notice if I click on the heading first, I then have to shift-click for the first value under the heading. Then it highlights the whole column. And then drag that one over. Just making room. Same thing with the email. Shift-click. Drag that over. And now, when I shift-click and drag the income over, I should have more room. Excellent. But we don't usually show income like this. We would like it formatted with dollar signs and such. So up here, we're going to flip over to the Format tab. And notice these are all grayed out because I still have the column heading selected. But if instead I click on just one of the numbers and leave the column heading out of it, they become ungrayed out. And then I can do formatting just like you would in Excel. So we'll do currency format, and we'll take away the decimal points. And now we have the income nicely displayed. If we really want to go and check out some other options, you can see that there's lots of options here. So that's nice. And we're in currency format. So this looks nicer. It's the same data, right? If I close this and save it, you can see now that I have two different views of the same data. This was the original query, and this is the report built off of that query. Nice. So now we're going to do the same thing for Rotten Tomatoes. We'll click on it first, then go over to Create, not Create Design, Report Wizard. And there's only two fields. We'll bring them both over. Click Next. Next. Sort orders should be fine. Tabular is what we want. Portrait, what we want. Finish. That's a preview of the report. But notice we don't have percentages. So that would be nice to have. So let's close Print Preview. We're now in Design View. Let's switch instead to Layout View and edit this field. The spacing looks fine here. So let's just worry this time about making those percentages. So we click on any one of the data points and then flip over to the Format tab. Choose percent. We don't need all the decimal points. Take those away. And now we have a nice report. All right, so this shows you how you can build a report off of a query. And this is for displaying data that you've already analyzed. Now let's look at getting data into the database. So if I click on one of the base tables, and usually you bring data into a base table, and then I go over to the Create tab, and this is really going to blow you away, just how fast this is. If I click on Form, what it's actually done, let me make this bigger, is it's created a form. But there's a problem, and the problem is that I didn't join my tables together to start this exercise. So I'm going to go do that. So we'll go to Database Tools, Relationships, join the tables together. Okay, now everyone's going to be a lot happier. Now watch what happens when I create a form. Create, click on Form. Something really interesting happened this time. Not only did I get the form for the records, but I actually get effectively a subform showing me for each fan the views that they had. And for this first fan, apparently this fan had no views, so nothing's showing here. But if I advance the fan, and I know this looks a little weird, but there's two scroll bars here, an inner one and an outer one. This inner one refers to the views. This outer one refers to the fan. So I'm going to advance the fan, and you can see that as I go through some of these fans, those fans actually do have views. So that is really cool. Some don't, but a lot of them do have views, which makes sense. And for each fan, when they've got views, I can then scroll through the views and go down and see all the views for that particular fan. So really, really nice design that we've got here. All right. Now, we're going to go ahead and add you into this database using this interface, which is really kind of cool. And so the way that we add records is there is over here an icon that says New Blank Record. And if you click on that, it gives you a brand new record. And so we want to start, we're going to use F200 as the fan key. So click here. Now notice that I'm trying to add a record, but nothing's going in because I'm still in a layout view. So I'm going to have to switch over to form view so that I can actually do some data input. They look real similar, but one allows me to do input, the other doesn't. So F200. And now this is you. All right, so I'll put myself in, but don't you put me in, put you in. Okay, your first name, your last name, email, whatever it is, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at fire.edu. Your birth year, let's say it's 2000. Income. Now we'll make up some income for you, but we want you to appear in the top 10. So we're going to give you a really high salary. So we'll make your income 175,000. Put your city, whatever it is. Your city. By the way, that can be your birth year. I just made up the 2000. You put yours. And state, your state, which is probably Ohio. But if it's not, then put whatever your state is. All right. so far so good. We won't put any views for you, but we want to see how that record took. All right, so we've got it in there. After we do the Ohio, we'll go ahead and hit the enter key, and that drops down to views, but we won't put any views. So let's close this. It's asking us if I want to save the design to the form called fans. Click yes. What name do we want to give it? We'll call it fans. Click OK. And so now there's a form here called fans, which is used to put data into the database, or even change some values that are there. So if I click back on that and I find my record, I'm the 2000 record. So if I search for 200. If I search for F200, there I am. It pulls it right up. And let's say we wanted to change that to 2002, for example. Then it updates. All right. Now, what's exciting about that has actually made a real change to the database. So if I actually look at the fans table, right, I should be in there, and there it is, F200. It's really there. But not only is it there, this is what's really cool. It's also here in the report that was built off of the query, right? So you should be in the query now too. Let's see if you are. You might have to run that. Oh yeah, there it is. Your first name, your last name. So you're in the query. In fact, you're the top one. And you also should be in the report. And there you are, right at the top of the report. So everything is dynamically updated off the base table. Make a change to the base table. That updates the query built off the base table. And it also updates the report that's built off of the query. So some pretty amazing stuff going on there. Okay. Now, we can also use this report wizard to build a query, right? So we can actually be in a situation where we don't have to write any SQL at all. And sometimes that's nice when you need something kind of quick and dirty to get a report out, and you don't need the sophistication perhaps of like an aggregate function or something like that. You just want some data output. And so here's what that looks like. So I'll go ahead and start by clicking on the fans table, and then I will go back to create, and this time flip over to the report wizard. All right, so lots of fields that I can bring in from fans, but I'm going to show you something pretty amazing. So I'll bring in first, last, and email for the fan. But now I can actually bring in fields from other tables and queries. If I click here, you can see all the tables and queries. Let's say I wanted to see which movies these fans had viewed. So I'll come down to movies, and I want the movie title. So I want to see what titles that fan has viewed. So first, last, let me bring that over. So first, last, email, and title. Flip over here and click next, next, next. Okay, and the view that we want isn't stepped, it's going to be outline. That's the view that turns out to be the nicest. Click next. And what title do we want for the report? I won't just call it fans, I'll call it fans and the movies they viewed. Click finish. And then this now shows for each fan their first, last, and email, and then all the movies they viewed. First, last, email, and all the movies they viewed. So if you think about it, what's going on behind the scenes is that this has done a join between three tables. How do I know it had to be three tables? Let me go ahead and save this. Right, there it is, fans and the movies they viewed. The reason it has to be three tables, because if I go to Database Tools and Relationship, the fans information is here, but the movies information, including the title, is over here. So it joined fans, views, and movies. We didn't pick a single field from views, and yet it actually understood, because we drawn these lines to start with, that views is in the middle. So it actually did an inner join through views all the way to movies. Okay. So let's do one more. So that was fans in the movies that they viewed. And now let's make another report. So we'll go create, go back to report wizard. And this time I'll start with the movies table. We'll kind of work from the other side. So it'll be the movie title, the studio, and then I'll pick the venue, and then I'll go to fans and pick the first and last for the fan. Click next. So it's going to be title, studio, the venue, and then who viewed it in that venue. Next, next, next. Flipped outline view. Next. So movies and the fans that viewed them. Then hit finish. And there you go. You've got the movie title and the studio, and then the fans that viewed that movie. And if I go here, I can get to the next page. A lot of people viewed that one. And eventually we'll get to another one. So really, really cool that you can do this. So we have just to recount all the things that we did, because this is actually a pretty amazing exercise. We began by making 2 queries, just like we've been doing all semester long. Then we made 2 reports off of those 2 queries. Then we went to the fans table and created a form so we could do some data input. We put ourselves in. Then after we did that, we then returned to making reports, because we kind of wanted to see if we were in there. So it turned out that we were here in the top fans and in the existing report there. And then we ended by making some reports, not off an existing query, but literally reports that worked, that basically went through the connections that we had made when we connected the tables at the beginning to do automatic joins between tables to produce reports. So pretty phenomenal, really gives you a feel for the power of Access to create forms and reports. And so good luck on the homework and the quiz for this assignment. We'll see you next time.